My wife is outspoken, but not by many. Okay.
Are we speaking about parking tonight, Mr. Dean?
Okay. This goes back in history. American Revolution, taxation without representation. Could be a pirate's hat. Are you here to put your hand in my pocket and take the silver? What I am referring to is a proposal that was mentioned to me that there will be meters in the free parking areas in Patchogue. I am violently opposed. 58 years ago, I walked up street, saw George Lectrecker. It was a truck full of meters. And I said, George, what are you doing? He said, we're going to put the meters in. I said, well, you're going to have a hell of a scrap from me. Turned around and said, take the meters away, and they never came back. What is going on now?
I'm going to ask my trustee deputy. As any good general would do, he would pass it on to his second command.
Well, thank you for coming.
Oh, maybe not.
Not always. I just happen to have some notes. I was prepared.
I'm a little hard of hearing. I'm like
Okay.
2 months older than when I had him in kindergarten, so go ahead.
You are a village resident, correct? So you will be able to park for free in the parking lots.
I think I have a microphone
Can you
here.
can you hear me out there?
Can everybody hear him?
Yeah, you will be able to park for free.
Yes, all village residents park for free in the parking lots.
How are we gonna know we're village residents?
When you get your village sticker,
Come down and get a
you'll be able to
sticker.
park for free on, in the metered lots. On Main Street, all residents have to pay on Main Street. And I've been discussing this with many people from the chamber and Dennis, of course, and store owners, and it seems the meters are working on Main Street, and there are spaces for people to park as designed. So I just want to let you know that.
Now, my question is, are the free lots going to be metered?
Yes, the lots are going to be metered, but village residents with a sticker can pay
My
for free.
concern is not only for village residents.
Some of the spaces will be free until the nighttime. There's different ways you can park. The meter's are gonna run in some of the areas of lots from 10 in the morning till 6 in the evening. And then at night, there's also gonna be a change, so then some of the spaces will be metered late at night to do that.
I have several questions about this. Number one, was this ever put out for a public hearing?
Yes, I mean, we had
It
public
was?
meetings.
When?
Oh, for the last 2 years.
We must have talked about this.
Specifically, a meeting to discuss the park?
Yes.
Yes.
How did I miss that one?
No, it's in the advance for the last 2 years.
Had you thought of giving a referendum to let the people vote on whether they want it or not? The problem is not just the village residents. I'm president of the Friends of the Library. I'm speaking here only as a private citizen, nothing to do with that. However, I can say right now, as a 5-generation family in Patchogue, that there is nothing in this village that I can't get anywhere else except the library and the art space. This brings in people from other areas. Now, on my volunteer group, the people who work with me at the Friends of the Library don't live in Patchogue. Some of them come from Medford. And I think it is unreasonable to expect people who are giving their time and their talent to the community and raising as much as $6,000 to $8,000 that we donate to have them pay to come to do this.
But there'll be enough free parking back there. Not all the spaces are going to be metered.
How many give me
About-
numbers.
I think about 40% of the spaces in the village are going to be metered. That's including the street. So about 65%, at least about a little more than 60% are still free. Now, even behind the library, the ones that are closest to the library are metered, but the ones that are a little further away, there's going to be free.
Are you going to keep the yellow lines?
I'm not sure what color they're going to be.
No, there's a difference.
Well, we're working on that as far as which one's gonna be white,
You
which
know,
one's gonna be
this is
yellow.
the same answer I got when TriTech had their first meeting, and I went, nobody questioned them but me. I said, what are you going to do about parking? And they all just fluffed me off and said, we'll discuss that later. Huh?
Oh, no, we're not discussing
They,
it.
they,
We're-
they did not give
But-
me any answer at the initial meeting when TriTech came to town to talk about their parking, because they have all these apartments. So you're saying that, why is it necessary to have meters there at all?
Because obviously we need more parking in the village. Because of the success of the restaurants, basically, where we have 15-plus restaurants within a 2-block area, that many of those buildings, and you know, you've been here, were at one time retail space. Now, retail space, you might have 4 employees, except for Sweezy's, or most of the stores had, 4 to 10 employees during the day, maybe, and customers in and out. Now we have restaurants that in the evening could have 30 employees and 120 or 200 customers. Now, this takes more parking that we don't have, so we need to buy properties or to build a tier parking, let me just finish, and the majority of people who are coming into the village are from out of town.
Correct.
They're not paying the taxes in the village, but they're using our services. We need more code enforcement because more people are coming into the village. We need more parking because more people are coming to the village. And it's either put parking meters in or have the village residents pay for that additional parking, which could mean about maybe a $10 million project over the next few years to buy properties and to build more parking. Now, the alternative to parking meters would be to tax the residents of the village to create more parking that benefits the retailers and the restaurants to bring in people from out of town to park. Now, we could do that, but we felt that it was a better solution was to charge for parking and charge for the services, because free parking isn't really free. It's got to be plowed, it's got to be lit, it's got to be maintained, we're going to be resealing all the parking lots. Somebody's got to pay for that. Now, either the village residents are going to pay for it for all the out-of-town people who are coming in, or the out-of-town people are going to pay for it for the village residents. Personally, I think that I'd rather have the people from out of town pay for it who are using our services than the residents.
But you tell me now, there will be still 65%
Yes.
free for people who come, because we run programs,
Sure.
I'm speaking as an individual and as a volunteer. You have to understand that. We do run programs at the library, and people come from all over for them. And I hate to have them penalized. And a lot of the people, are not village residents. They're East Patchogue and Medford, wherever. Plus the people we employ there for being the entertainers or being the lecturers or so on. So that's why I have great concern that they have accessibility without being penalized financially to come and give us their services.
Now, for instance, the entire parking lot behind the Congregational Church will be free 24. That's not metered. That will be all free. The parking area behind, where would it be, the Capital One Bank, that's all free. That's going to be all free all the time. The parking behind the library, the first row behind the library that goes from the music store to where about the library is, the first area, which is closest, is going to be metered during the day. The ones behind there, so closer to Terry Street, are going to be free all day. And then later in the evening, they become pay spots at night.
So you're telling me then when my volunteers come, I should tell them to park behind the Congregational Church?
Actually, Capital One.
Okay.
Behind
Or
Capital
closer
One.
to Terry Street.
Yeah, or closer to Terry
Yes, I
Street.
commend you for doing Taylor Street and also what you did along Division here, where at least you made more parking spaces.
They'll always be free, those spaces.
Okay. Now, I read on January 16th that you had a big study and there were going to be 305 parking spaces and a whole big green thing. What happened?
Oh, we're working on that.
Right now, The cost to do that is about $6.2 million.
Well, have you gotten any federal grants or
That's
any
what we-
other
that's
private
what we-
grants? And have you looked into bond issues and so on?
Yes.
And the other thing we've looked into is what's called the RDC, which are the grants given out by the state for these, and those are applications, those you really have. to
That's
take.
what I'm thinking. I mean, you know, we are a vital part of the state of
We've
New
been pretty
York.
good with getting grant money. I guess we've gotten over the last 10 years about $50 million.
Well, the reason I came is because I had a few volunteers who were really upset because they came from Medford, and they said, you know, this doesn't feel right to us.
One of the things I do want to mention is that this is a fluid system. We're putting in place a plan. And we're going to watch this plan over a period of time and adjust it as need be. So if we find that, well, you know, during the daytime, there's just not enough free parking or whatever, we'll adjust it, we'll pull back, we'll find other places to park. But as the mayor was saying, you know, for instance, the Church Street lot, that's where we have targeted for a tier parking structure. We have to buy those properties.
Plus, we will have the young adult Carnegie Library there.
That's right, and the Carnegie Library on the other side by the county lot. And the county's been very generous allowing people to park there when they go in. So there's a lot of things going on now to purchase properties and to talk about tier parking and things like that, that certainly aren't, you know.
Well, I just wanted to be reassured that all of the work, and we work very hard, and I'm again speaking as a private citizen, not as any official, because I'm just a head of a volunteer group, that we work very hard, and I don't want to lose people, and I don't want to be funding programs that people can't come to because they have to pay to park.
One of the things that we did, what Trustee Krieger made sure happened, the price is 25 cents a half hour. And we did that to keep it as reasonable, obviously. So it's 75 cents for an hour and a half. But part of that is that what we found on Main Street is there are more spaces available for people. And what maybe you'll see is that for that 75 cents, some of the people will always be able to get a space close to the library where before, because what was happening before, employees that park on Main Street and park in those prime spaces. So now you're not seeing that anymore.
Right, but you're seeing that the free spaces are getting more crowded. When I used to come down, oh, you know, it was very easy to find a spot and go in and work a few hours. Now I'm saying, what's going on? Why are all these cars here? Is there something going on? Well, it's people not wanting to pay on Main Street, so they're parking in the lots.
Right, and we have another program that's pretty unique because everybody I talk to says you're crazy to do it. But we have an employee parking stickers that if an employee wants to park in a meter 8 hours a day for 20 days out of the month, it's going to cost them, you know, a fairly decent amount of money. But our program is that employees, if you work at the library or if you work at a restaurant, or it'll cost you about $5 a month to park in specific locations.
Park where?
In the parking lots. If you're, for instance, if you want to park, if you don't want to walk a little bit where you can park for free and you want to park closer, you can pay for an employee sticker, and that'll allow you to park in certain areas in the parking lots.
You have to be an employee.
You have to be an employee.
Because I've seen employees say, I can't talk to you now, I gotta go move my car, it's 2 hours. And
Well-
they're running in and out.
But you know, those spaces that you talk about, those 2-hour parking spaces, they're really for customers.
For turnover, yes.
For turnover. And you know, I worked at Sweezy's as a teenager, and you weren't allowed to park in the Lake Street parking lot if you worked at Sweezy's. You had to park at the Congregational Church or the firehouse, whatever. And I worked at the gift corner at nights, and I would have to escort the women to their cars because they just wouldn't allow parking. Now, I've gotten comments from business owners who say to me, you expect me to walk all the way to the Congregational Church to park? And I
It's
said,
not
well,
that far.
I said, not that far, and plus, aren't there closed spaces for your customers? I mean, look at, like Lori Belmonte with the Colony Shop. We have that issue all the time, right, Lori? About people taking spaces right behind her store for 8, 12 hours a day, and customers having to
Oh, I
pay
have no issue with the
Yeah.
2 hour,
Yeah.
because basically when you're doing something, you're pretty well finished.
And there'll also be some spaces in the lots that are 4-hour limits. So people can stay a little longer, like, for instance, we've got a request from, say, the Bridal Paradise. When they get a group of women who come in there to try on gowns,
It
they
takes
can
out.
be there all day. So we want to make sure that we can accommodate those people.
All right, well, I feel much better knowing that there still will be free parking areas that don't kill our programs and don't make me lose my volunteers.
Well, I think the other thing too is that if you see there to be a problem once it's in place, we're the easiest guys to talk to, because, you know.
Well, you know if there's a problem,
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
get hold of you.
Well, just as an example,
I do.
last week the owner of Wallen's was here at the board meeting, and he's got a lot of in-out business, quick business, 15-minute. And he came up here after the meeting, he sat through the whole meeting, and then after the meeting, he came up to me and he said, I'd really like to have a 15-minute spot. What do I have to do? And I just said, Trustee Keys, can you put a 15-minute spot there? And the guy was like, is that all I have to do? Yeah, that's all you have to do. So, as I said, this is a fluid project. So we're gonna look at it and see, get the advice from the business owners and residents and say, well, maybe we need a little bit of this, maybe we need this, and it can be massaged and changed as we go along. It's not like, all right, we're putting the meters in, we're putting the signs up, that's it, it's done. No, we're gonna, like we've done on Main Street, and it's been successful.
All right, I'm happy to hear that, and I'm happy to hear you're fluid, and if you're not, you'll see me again.
I know I will.
That's a threat, not a promise.
Thank you.
A promise.
Can I have a motion?